You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
And welcome in again to 13 News and Weather here at 6 p.m. Hi, I'm Ralph Hipp.
And I'm Melissa Bruner. Glad you're along with us and hope you are staying warm and safe this evening as we have another round of very dangerous cold around the area.
And another round of blackouts we may talk about in a moment. Well, Melissa, we had some sunshine today, but of course that snow is still out there. And let's get the situation on that front from Jeremy Goodwin, live in our First Alert Weather Center.
Hi, Ralph, Melissa. It's hard to melt any snow, and the temperature has been below freezing for almost 2 weeks. We'll finally get above freezing on Friday of this week after going 2 full weeks with the temperature below freezing. Last night, this morning, we were way below zero. Look at this number, 21 below zero. That's the official number from the climatological summary from the National Weather Service in Topeka. 21 below zero. The old record was -9. We beat that by a long way. Concordia, the old record was -12. Now it's -22. These were the coldest temperatures for all of northeast Kansas in more than 30 years. Temperatures now, Topeka has 7, Marysville 3, Concordia 5, with a wind chill at -3 in the capital city. Again, it will take a long time to melt what snow is out there, and the wind chill values are already below zero again. We have a winter weather advisory for areas mainly south of the Kansas Turnpike, with the higher chance of seeing 1 to 3 inch snow accumulation. It's going to be mainly areas along and south of I-35. Topeka could see a ½ inch of snow, probably at the most, but in Emporia, Burlington, Ottawa, it could be in the 2 or 3 inch category. Your First Alert 8-day forecast is coming up.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy, and get ready. We could all be in for another round or two of rolling blackouts later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Extreme cold continues stressing the system after one round yesterday afternoon. Evergy began taking customers offline about 7 this morning. Once again, they were told to expect power off for about an hour, but some of the neighborhoods were in the dark for 2 to 3 hours. 13's Kimberly Donahue starts us off tonight, speaking with some of the people about their experiences.
The Oakland Community Center was without power for about an hour and a half, and that's been the theme today throughout the Oakland neighborhood. Residents tell me they were ready for the blackouts, they just weren't ready for the length. Amid the snow and sub-zero temperatures, Oakland residents face some of the longest power outages. How long was your power out this morning?
I think for like an hour and a half.
2 hours and I think like 15 minutes.
I think it's like a couple hours.
About 2.5 hours.
Many people woke up to the outages, causing worries.
It was bad because I have a little brother. My dad, he can't be in the cold because his bones are hurting. And plus, well, to be honest, I think it was just not worth it. I don't know why they did it.
I mean, it's probably better off at nighttime or something. So I figured it happened in the middle of the night. Sometimes so you know what's happening, you know. Not just kind of springing on you early in the morning.
This man says temperatures dropped to the low 50s inside his home, forcing creativity.
I feel warmer standing here in the sun than I would in my own house. I had about 4 blankets on me, my sweatpants, this jacket in here, and then I had another one hanging over my back in there.
Some people lucked out. Robert Compton had a gas heat source.
I just made breakfast during that time and sat down, did a little reading, and did my bills.
Evergy admits Oakland's power was off longer than planned, but it was an effort to avoid an even longer blackout.
The #1 goal in everything we have done today and over the last 48 hours has been to ensure grid stability and to avoid a much longer, much larger, and uncontrolled outage where people could be out for half a day, overnight, multiple days, as we are seeing millions of customers experience in other areas of the country outside of the Southwest Power Pool.
Evergy says power should be returned to those who lost it. And if you are experiencing a longer outage, you can report it by calling 800-544-4857. And they're asking everybody to continue conserving energy for the time being.
All right. Thanks for the story and thanks for the number. Kimberly Donahue in Oakland for us tonight. As the rolling blackouts continue, leaving thousands of you without power, many are concerned about staying safe in a home that doesn't have any heat. Let's go inside to Isaac French telling us how you can get ready if the lights go out and the heat goes off.
Losing power for several hours isn't just a burden on your morning or nightly routine. It can also be a risk to your health. The rolling blackouts caused several area businesses to close for the day and left many homeowners trying to stay warm. Even if you don't expect to experience a blackout, Aaron Mahan with the Shawnee County Emergency Management says it's best to always be prepared.
Think about what you might need in order to survive for 2 or 3 or 4 hours or even all day long without power. Knowing about warming stations, making sure you have enough blankets and cold weather gear at home for stocking caps, gloves. A big thing is of course not just taking care of yourself, but your family and anybody else that may be in the residence with you.
When the power goes out and the temperature drops down, it's important to maintain body heat.
Keep your family within the same room, close to one another, so you can share the heat with each other in that room. And then of course just stay bundling up. Dressing in layers helps considerably, because then you do create those 2 to 3 areas of insulation about your body that can hold in body heat a lot better.
Mahan says if you do find yourself in a situation without power, it's important to remain calm and not take any drastic measures.
Using your oven or your stove to help heat your house is probably not a good idea, because one, due to the use of natural gas, and then of course there's always the fire and the burn hazard. If you do run a generator, a little personal generator to either keep your refrigerator going or some other type of appliance in your house, please don't use those inside. Keep them at least 20 feet away from your residence so the carbon monoxide and the exhaust fumes can't find their way into the house.
Mahan says that you should only call 911 if you are experiencing an actual emergency, not simply to report that your power is out.
All right. Isaac, good information there. We appreciate that. Melissa?
Well, some big numbers today. More than 170,000 Evergy customers were in the dark during the rolling blackouts. That's on top of 60,000 affected yesterday. More from the co-ops around the area, and we're not out of the woods yet. So what is behind all of this? 13's Danielle Martin explains what a rolling blackout's all about.
Melissa, that's right. The Southwest Power Pool manages the region's power grid for a 17-state region, and they told utilities, including Evergy, that more temporary outages were needed in order to conserve energy and avoid larger problems down the road.
We have enough supply to meet our power demand here in this region.
Evergy's Senior Vice President and Chief Customer Officer Chuck Casely says residents experienced rolling power outages for several reasons.
This is not a Evergy problem at this point in terms of having enough generation or power supply to meet our customers' demands. Our plants are up and running. It is a concern that the Southwest Power Pool, who runs the 17-state region and controls the 17-state region, is worried about overall power supply.
The cold weather increased power use in the region.
It's been the coldest of the days so far that we've experienced. As people's homes, cars, and other things that use energy are in the extended cold, they have to use more energy just to stay warm. And so every day that goes by that we're in uses more energy in the morning as people are starting their morning routines and businesses are opening up.
And power plants played a role too. Some had issues with transporting coal and frozen supplies, and others were down altogether.
We know of plants that have gone down in Iowa and in Oklahoma, and as a result, the Southwest Power Pool is worried about the overall supply to electrical customers within the 17-state region of the Southwest Power Pool. By taking people off in smaller blocks for a temporary emergency power outage, we are hoping to avoid what they're seeing in Texas and other areas of the United States.
Casely says Evergy may only get 10 to 15 minutes notice to make changes to reduce demand, leaving no time to notify specific customers.
We just remind people that as these temporary power outages occur, one of the things that will be impacted, and since we're no longer in a holiday situation, is traffic lights. So as you're traveling today, we'd like to make sure that people are very cautious as they're going through intersections.
Evergy says about 10% of their customers were impacted by today's outages, that they ended before noon. Several local electric co-ops supplied by Evergy also had customers affected. Now, the Southwest Power Pool downgraded the energy emergency alert to a level 1 this afternoon, but SPP says more rolling outages could be needed through Friday, depending on energy use. Ralph.
Danielle, thank you very much. On other news tonight, Topeka police are checking a shooting in the south central part of the city that left one person dead. TPD says its officers found 42-year-old Michael Stringfield dead just after 11:30 last night in the 3700 block of Southwest Plaza Drive. TPD used its K-9 unit to track down 3 people. Police say those 3 were questioned and released, and they haven't released any other further details about how this all unfolded last night. But they do ask any of you with tips or information, please call Crime Stoppers at 234-0000. 07. On another note about this story, court records are showing that Michael Stringfield was set for a docket hearing this Friday on charges stemming from a domestic-related standoff late last year. Slick roads are blamed for a crash that claimed a life early today. It happened around 6:45 this morning here in the eastbound lanes of I-470 between Gage and Burlingame. Troopers haven't released many other details on the wreck or the people involved. This is the scene. The highway closed for several hours as the authorities were checking it out. KDOT reminds us to be extra careful on bridges and overpasses as the salt and brine treatments do not work nearly as well in the extreme cold weather.
And with this cold, Fellowship Highcrest Church opened its doors today to keep people warm. The church in the former Avondale East Elementary building on Gulf Park Boulevard off Southeast Adams is using its gym as a warming center. They're also offering free blankets and water. The church says anyone is welcome to stop in until 8 tonight and from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. You can check WIBW.com for more warming centers in Emporia, Manhattan, and Pottawatomie County.
Kansas is still lagging behind other states in distributing vaccines. We'll talk about that.
We'll get a look at the numbers and hear what state officials are saying next.
You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
Ranked number 48 last week, Kansas continues to rank near the bottom in the country for vaccines administered, Melissa.
Governor Kelly and KDHE are saying the recording system is what needs to be fixed. 13's Joseph Hennessy is here with the latest on how we stack up against other states.
The data used by the CDC's dashboard comes directly from the state of Kansas. After seeing the state rank in the bottom 5 in the country for administered vaccines, KDHE Secretary Dr. Lee Norman says it's time for an upgrade. As 13 News previously reported, Dr. Lee Norman says the data recording system they use, called WebIZ, needs to be fixed because the data continues to lag. Governor Kelly says the data lags because people are not putting the numbers in properly. A study from Becker's Hospital Review updated this morning shows Kansas is 46th out of 50 U.S. states when it comes to the percentage of vaccines administered that have been distributed. Rhode Island, Alabama, Maine, and New Hampshire are the worst. Now, according to data reported to the CDC, Kansas has given just more than 67% of the vaccines the state has on hand.
It's complex, it's difficult, there are a lot of people involved, and we have to count on them to get the data there.
These interfaces between these IT systems is where the problems are occurring with HL7. I'm not an expert on computer technology. We have an IT HL7 expert in helping us to do a diagnostic, and we have some additional consulting help to figure this out.
Last week, Norman said they can give good assurance that the vaccines are getting into people. KansasVaccine.gov shows more than 394,000 total doses have been given. 291,000 are the first doses and 102,000 are second doses. Right now, 10% of the state has been vaccinated.
And he updated this morning that the cold weather could delay the state's vaccine shipment by a day or two, so we'll keep you posted if we hear of that having any effect on any of the clinics around our area.
The weather having a big impact on the vaccination story and most everything. Are we almost out of this frigid weather? We'll check in with Jeremy next.
This is First Alert Weather.
The cold weather and the power impacts this morning affected our weather data as well. So earlier today, if you watched the 4 o'clock show, it was saying it was 16 below zero for the low in Topeka. But it looks like the National Weather Service updated that. It's a little later. So if you caught the earlier data, this is the right number. It was not minus 16 this morning. Well, it was at 1 point, or 2 points actually. It was 16 below zero on the way down to 21 below zero. And it came back up through 16 below zero again, so did that twice. But 21 below zero this morning. The old record for today was minus 9. The old record for Concordia was minus 12. So 10-degree difference now on the record temperatures. That's an extreme jump for record numbers. This is also the coldest morning since December of 1989. And December 23rd, 1989, Topeka at minus 26 degrees. The coldest I've seen in northeast Kansas at all on any records anywhere was Concordia back in 1886 when it was minus 33. So it can get that cold. I hope not to see that anytime soon. Looking back the last 2 weeks, we dropped below freezing on the 6th, and we've stayed below freezing. Now today, we only made it up to 10 degrees. but it felt, for 10 degrees, this felt all right because of how cold it has been. So 10 degrees today with some sunshine. And looking back the last couple of days from Sunday, we were below freezing from early afternoon on Valentine's Day. Fell off to -7 by midnight. Yesterday we had that -9, that was a record. Valentine's Day morning was -8, that was a record as well. And then today, -12 at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., -12, and then right before sunrise, we dropped very quickly down to 21 below zero. Then we climbed quickly through the afternoon. Right now, 7 in Topeka, 6 in Lawrence. We have a mostly clear sky overhead. With a clear sky, the temperature should drop pretty fast. It's not going to drop into the double digits below zero tonight, fortunately, but some of the wind chills may get there at times. It's -10 in Marysville for the wind chill now. Capitol Federal Live Storm Tracker. We have another big snowstorm. This one's going to just graze parts of the WIBW viewing area on its way to areas like Springfield, Missouri, and probably St. Louis. Chicago get a foot of snow out of this thing as well. Around here, we get just the kind of the top edge of that storm with a 1 to 3 inch snowfall likely along I-35. Areas like Topeka, Lawrence, Council Grove could get up to a ½ inch from this. The farther north and west you are, the less you're going to get out of this. But if we do have more closings, cancellations, of course, you can get them on the WIBW News app. Is a great place because you can get a push notification for your school there. We have lots of weather information on the weather app. And of course, if you go to the top left part of WIBW.com, you can also get those closings, cancellations easy there. So tonight, that's a warm up, 2 degrees. It was -21 this morning. So 2 is better. And then tomorrow afternoon, 21. It's still cold, but heading the right direction. Well, their 8-day forecast will make it above freezing, but not until Friday, and that will have been 2 straight weeks with temperatures staying below freezing. So the extreme cold is not as extreme now, and by Friday, 34, low 40s this weekend.
Kind of a 42-degree swing, Sharon? Okay.
A big
up to positive 21. We'll take a break, and sports is next. We'll also give you a sneak peek at the Chiefs' schedule for next season.
And find out if a child actor who might look familiar for what his next chapter is in the capital city.
This is 13 Sports.
With the Chiefs' 2020-2021 campaign in the books, we now have a sneak peek at what's in store for the team's upcoming season. The team's full schedule with dates will be announced later this year, but for now, the organization today released a look at who the Chiefs will be playing. In addition to AFC West divisional opponents, the Chiefs will take on the AFC North, NFC East, and the first-place finishers from the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans, as well as the AFC East first-place finishers, the Buffalo Bills. The University of Kansas has suspended its head baseball coach after he was arrested for driving under the influence this weekend. Price, who was hired to lead the KU baseball program in 2002, will be suspended from all team activities for the next 2 weeks. AD Jeff Long said in a statement, Price expressed, quote, sincere remorse and says he is confident he'll learn from this dangerous lapse in judgment. Price issued an apology in a statement today saying he takes full responsibility for his actions Saturday that put himself and members of the community in danger. Associate head coach Ryan Graves will serve as head coach during Price's suspension. The Jayhawks season is set to begin on Friday.
You got your check coming. You can't take the boogeyman down. Don't make me beat you again. You'll find someone you can.
Does that face look familiar? Well, if you're an Emporia State Hoops fan, it should. The clip from the 2008 movie Turnip Seed features Emporia State men's basketball leading scorer Jamari Turner. He says he auditioned for the role in middle school on a whim with a friend with no acting experience. To his surprise, he landed the gig and soon played the teenage version of the lead character, Johnny Turnipseed, in the film that has an 8.2 star rating out of 10 on IMDb. Jamari says that was the beginning and likely the end of his acting career, but it goes to show you can do anything you set your mind to, even if it's out of your comfort zone.
Just have fun, just do whatever that you think you can do or whatever and go out for it, Just no limitations to what you can do as an individual, no matter who you are. And yeah, just go out and just be the best you can be.
You'll hear the full story of Jamari's acting debut later on tonight at 10. You're watching 13 News at 6. We're back in a moment right after this.
Stay inside with us. CBS's longest-running show, NCIS, is back-to-back with the newest show, The Equalizer. That stars Queen Latifah.
We will also continue to keep an eye on that potential for rolling blackouts. Right now, the situation has gotten a bit better, but if we hear any updates, you will hear them as well on WIBW.com and your news alerts. Stay tuned for Wheel of Fortune in the meantime, and stay warm.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports at WIBW.com or follow WIBW on Twitter, Facebook, and our mobile app. Thank you for making 13 News the most watched evening newscast.